And now we come to the time where once again our nation has a crisis. But strange things happen when a nation has a crisis. Just like in the Great Depression, where rich people were jumping off of the buildings because of fiscal despair. We weren't jumping off no buildings. We knew hard times. We hardly fell off the curb. What was happening was the whole country was beginning to feel what we had already felt. And when McMahon tells you about me going from dropout to chairman of the Ways and Means Committee, they couldn't reach out and bypass me with the GI Bill. I was on that train when it got back in. I said, put me on the train with the education. That's right. In 1929, when Roosevelt said we got to pick up our people, I don't know and don't care whether he was talking about us, but he had to go to the areas, rural and urban, where people didn't have jobs, didn't have hope, didn't have homes, and come down there with an economic program that would educate them, train them, and have them to learn how to do something, how to be productive. And when it was all over, we were much better off than we was before we had the money. The Japanese and the Germans and the Italians attacked this great nation. I was a kid, I thought it was the end of the world. I felt then like some kids would believe today if they said the aliens are coming. Well, what did I know? They all looked like they were aliens. They were bombing and killing and strafing, and people were crying and dying. But when America got on its feet, we were able to struggle up there with America. And I suggest to you, pastor, brothers and sisters and nephew, that our nation is in a crisis now. And it's not just economically us. True, once a nation learned to depend on our way, our capitalistic system, if that went cockeyed because of the greed of some people, if they were selling bad paper to each other, believing that this bubble will never burst, and if the whole world started believing if America can't do it right, we can't, and so they depended on us. We get sick, they get sick, we catch cold, they get pneumonia, and the whole world looks like it's in chaotic condition. I've never seen a bank cry. I've never seen a banker even feel embarrassed by what they've done to this great country.
All right.
Come on now.
And I find it so easy for them to find $700 billion for them to do what they're supposed to do, and that is loan people money without stealing.
Come on, tell it.
And everybody in charge of getting us out of this come from where the theft took place.
All right.
Every one of them. There's not one that's in charge now that's not been an investment banker. You know, that's like chickens going to the fox saying, help me.
All right, all right.
And so the only superiority I feel is that no economists say they know what they're doing. It's just if you don't do this, it's the world's fall is going to be in the world, so you have to give us the money, you have to give it to us now.
Yeah, give us the money.
We said, no, we're not. We give it to you in two parts, you know. Courageous Congress. We give $350 billion. You got to come back for the rest. You came back for the rest, but we're going to give it to you. See, this is how powerful we are. So we have to wait and see how this works out. But the one thing that I want you to watch is the leadership of Barack Obama in saying, it may take a long time for the institutions to get on their feet, but I want the American people to get on their feet now. If indeed America is in intensive care and has an economic problem in surviving, don't be talking about the amount of money it's going to take to recover. Make our country healthy, let her come back, and then she can pay off the debts that it takes. And so, as Mike has said, never in the history of the United States have we had someone so concentrated, not with the wealthy, but being able to say the most beautiful thing that we have as a people is either being middle class or dreaming and wanted to be middle class. And he is saying for those working people, more than just the money is the dignity of knowing that you have a job.
That's right.
And so across the board, for 95% of the people, they will receive $400, $1,000. It may not seem a lot of money to us, but for those people that promised their daughter a new pair of shoes, or they just needed this to keep the kid in school, or they couldn't make the rent, or the mortgage was just confusing, all they needed was a couple of dollars to get by. And if they went to the store and were taking things off of the conveyor belt because they couldn't pay for it, they can say, I promised my kid the more expensive cereal, let it stay there. And if millions of people are doing this around the country, white, black, well, no matter what the color, it means that small merchant, the guy that put together his life savings to open up the restaurant, to open up the thrift shop, would be able to stay in business and not fire the people that are there. And then Barak says, in addition to that, for those who've lost their job, give them the dignity of being able to get extended unemployment. Raise the amount of money. It's not only good economic sense, but it's the right thing to do. And so families with kids will be able to get paid less taxes. And those that work hard every day and make less than $42,000, they'll be able to get the earned income tax credit. Now, Mike, you got to tell the rest of my family what their earned income tax credit is, because the most painful thing is we started this some 20 years ago. How many people know what EITC is and what the earned income tax credit is? Put up your hand. I was afraid of that. I'm coming back.